All right. Chapter 13. June 1801, a mirage of an unknown city. It was seen for more than an hour at Youghal, County Cork, Ireland, a representation of mansions surrounded by shrubbery and white palings, forest behind. In October 1796, mirage of a walled town had been seen distinctly for a half an hour at Youghal. Upon March 9th, 1797, had been seen a mirage of a walled town. February 7th, 1802, an unknown body that was seen by Fritsch of Magdeburg to cross the sun. October 10th, 1802, an unknown dark body was seen by Fritsch rapidly crossing the sun. Between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning on October 8th, 1803, a stone fell from the sky at the town of Apt, France. About 8 hours later, some persons believed that they felt an earthquake. Upon August 11th, 1805, an explosive sound was heard at East Haddam, Connecticut. There are records of 6 prior sounds as if of explosions that were heard at East Haddam beginning with the year 1791, but unrecorded. The sounds had attracted attention for a century and had been called the Moodus sounds by the Indians. For the best account of the Moodus sounds, see the American Journal of Science 39-339. Here a writer tries to show the phenomena were subterranean, but says that there was no satisfactory explanation. Upon the 2nd of April, 1808, over the town of Pignerol, Piedmont, Italy, a loud sound was heard in many places in Piedmont. An earthquake was felt. In the report BA 1854-68, it is said that aerial phenomena did occur, that before the explosion, luminous objects had been seen in the sky over Pignerol, and that in several of the communes in the Alps, aerial sounds as if of innumerable stones colliding had been heard, and the quakes had been felt. From April 2nd to April 8th, 40 shocks were recorded in Pignerol. Sounds like cannonading were heard in Barga. Upon the 18th of April, 2 detonations were heard at La Tour, and a luminous object was seen in the sky. The supposition, or almost absolute belief of most persons, is that from the 2nd to the 18th of April, this Earth had moved far in its orbit and was rotating, so that, if one should explain the probably meteors had exploded here, it could not very well be thought that more meteors were continuing to pick out this one point upon a doubly moving planet. But something was specially related to this one local sky. Upon the 19th of April, a stone fell from the sky at Borgo San Donnino, about 40 miles east of Piedmont. Sounds like a cannonading were heard almost every day in this small region. Upon the 13th of May, a red cloud such as marks the place of a meteoric explosion was seen in the sky. Throughout the rest of the year, phenomena that are now listed as earthquakes occurred in Piedmont. The last occurrence of which I have record was upon January 22nd, 1810, February 9th, 1812, 2 explosive sounds in East Haddam. July 5th, 1812, 1 explosive sound in East Haddam. October 28th, 1812, phantom soldiers at Havara Park near Ripley, England. Edinburgh, annual register 1812-2-124. When such appearances are explained by meteorologists, they are said to be displays of the aurora borealis. Psychic research explains variously. The physicists say that they are mirages of troops marching somewhere at the distance. Night of July 31st, 1813, flashes of light in the sky of Tottenham near London. The sky was clear. The flashes were attributed to a storm at Hastings, 65 miles away. We note not only that the planet Mars was in opposition at this time, July 30th, but in one of the nearest of its oppositions in the 19th century. December 28th, 1813, an explosive sound in East Haddam. February 2nd, 1816, a quake at Lisbon. There was something in the sky. Extraordinary sounds were heard, but were attributed to flocks of birds. But 6 hours later, something was seen in the sky. It is said to have been a meteor. Since the year 1788, many earthquakes or concussions that were listed as earthquakes had occurred at the town of Comrie, Perthshire, Scotland. 17 instances were recorded in the year 1795. Almost all records of the phenomena of Comrie start with the year 1788, but in Macara's Guide to Crieff, it is said that the disturbances were recorded as far back as the year 1597. They were slight shocks, and until the occurrence upon August 13, 1816, conventional explanations, excluding all thought of relations with anything in the sky, seemed adequate enough. But in an account in the London Times, August 21st, 1816, it is said that at the time of the quake of August 13th, a luminous object or a small meteor had been seen in Dunkeld near Comrie, and according to David Milne, a resident of Comrie had reported a large luminous body bent like a crescent which stretched itself over the heavens. There was another quake in Scotland, June 30th, 1817. It is said that hot water fell from the sky. January 6th, 1818, an unknown body that crossed the sun, according to Loft of Ipswich, observed about 3 hours and a half. 5 unknown bodies that were seen upon June 26, 1819, crossing the sun, according to Gruthson. Also upon this day, Pastorff saw something that he thought was a comet, which was then somewhere near the sun, but which, according to Olbers, could not have been the comet. Upon August 28, 1819, there was a violent quake at Irkutsk, Siberia. There had been 2 shocks upon August 22, 1813. Upon April 6, 1805, or March 25th, according to the Russian calendar, 2 stones had fallen from the sky in Irkutsk. One of these stones is now in the South Kensington Museum, London. Another violent shock at Irkutsk, April 7th, 1820. Unknown bodies in the sky in the year 1820, February 12th and April 27th. Things that marched in the sky. See Arago's Ouvers 11-576 or Annals de Chimie 30-417. Objects were seen by many persons in the streets of Embrun during the eclipse of September 7th, 1820, moving in straight lines, turning and retracting in the same straight lines, all of them separated by uniform spaces. Early in the year 1821, a light shone out on the moon, a bright point of light in the lunar crater Aristarchus, which was in the dark at the time. It was seen upon the 4th and the 7th of February by Captain Cater, and upon the 5th by Dr. Olbers. It was a light like a star and was seen again May 4th and 6th by Reverend M. Ward and by Francis Bailey at Cape Town, nights of November 28th and 29th, 1821. Again, a star-like light was seen upon the moon. Quarterly Journal Royal Institute or something, 20-417, that early in the morning on March 20th, 1822, detonations were heard at Melita, an island in the Adriatic. All day, at intervals, the sounds were heard. They were like the cannonading, and it was supposed that they come from a vessel or from Turkish artillery practicing in some frontier village. For 30 days, the detonations continued, sometimes 30 or 40, sometimes several hundred a day. Upon April 13th, 1822, it seems, according to their description, that clearly enough was there an explosion in the sky of Comrie and a concussion of the ground, 2 loud reports, one apparently over our heads and the other which followed immediately under our feet. July 15th, 1822, the fall of perhaps unknown seeds and perhaps an unknown world, a great quantity of little round seeds that fell from the sky at Marienwerder, Germany. They were unknown to the inhabitants who tried to cook them, but found that boiling seemed to have no effect upon them. Wherever they came from, they were brought down by a storm, and 2 days later more of them fell in a storm in Silesia. It is said that these corpuscles were identified by some scientists as seeds of Gallum spurium, but that other scientists disagreed. Later, more of them fell at Poison Mecklenburg. August 19th, 1822, a tremendous detonation at Melilla. Others continuing several days. October 23rd, 1822, two unknown dark bodies crossing the sun observed by Pastorov. An unknown shining thing, it was seen by Webb, May 22nd, 1823, near the planet Venus. More unknowns in the year 1823. See Competes Rendus 49-811 and Webb's Celestial Objects, page 43. February 1824, the sounds of Melilla. Upon February 11th, 1824, a slight shock was felt at Irkutsk, Siberia upon February 18th, or according to other accounts, upon May 14th, a stone that weighed 5 pounds fell from the sky at Irkutsk. 3 severe shocks at Irkutsk, March 8th, 1824. September 1824, the sounds of Melilla. At 5 o'clock morning of October 20th, 1824, a light was seen upon the dark part of the moon by Gruithuisen. It disappeared. 6 minutes later, it appeared again, disappeared again, and then flashed intermittently until 5:30 a.m. When sunrise ended the observations. And upon January 22nd, 1825, again shone out the star-like light of Aristarchus reported by Reverend J.B. Emmett. The last sounds of Melilla, of which I have record, were heard in March 1825. If these detonations did come from the sky, there was something that, for at least 3 years, was situated over or was in some other way specifically related to this one small part of this Earth's surface, subversively to all supposed principles of astronomy and geodesy. It is said that to find out whether the sounds did come from the sky or not, the Patur of Melilla went into underground caverns to listen. It is said that there the sounds could not be heard.